They hurt you silently, yet karma watched quietly, ready for a reckoning. Are you prepared for the powerful truth hidden in the silence? Ever wondered why your quiet pain seems invisible? Tonight, discover how your silent dignity triggers the universe's ultimate justice. Your kindness was mistaken for weakness, but the universe was silently keeping score, ready to witness karma's quiet revolution. Ergo. Hey guys, tonight we step into a place many avoid, the silent shadows of emotional neglect. Imagine yourself in a dimly lit room waiting patiently for someone who never comes, their silence slowly chipping away at your worth. It's quiet cruelty, subtle yet devastating. Tonight we'll journey deep into this pain, uncovering how your silent strength has triggered a profound universal balance karma. Now here's a cheeky heads up, you probably won't survive this without changing how you see your pain forever. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, drop your location and the local time in the comments. It's amazing seeing how far our community stretches. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. One quiet pain, powerful silence. They hurt you not once, not twice, but over and over again, as though it had become their routine. Sometimes the pain came through harsh words designed to wound, sometimes through cold, indifferent silence, and sometimes simply by pretending you didn't even exist. Yet despite the ongoing hurt, you stayed. You remained rooted even when it would have been easier to leave. You forgave even when no apology ever arrived. You chose kindness, continuously pouring light into those who only return shadows. But let me share something that Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus have known deeply for centuries. Justice does not need to be shouted. It only needs to be lived. Karma isn't a fiery sword of revenge. It's a slow-moving force of universal balance. It doesn't demand anger or retaliation. It requires patience, clarity, and dignity. While you were silently enduring, karma was listening closely. While you were quietly healing, karma was already in motion. You see, the universe doesn't mete out justice through violence or fury. It corrects through reflection. People often fool themselves into thinking they can escape the consequences of their actions. They mistake your kindness for weakness, your silence for surrender. They fail to understand that the silent resilience you embody is far more powerful than any retaliation. Think about Captain Sully, who calmly landed a plane full of terrified passengers onto the Hudson River without panic or rage, just clear, unwavering calmness under pressure. His silence and steadiness were louder than any words he could have shouted. Similarly, your quiet dignity, your graceful withdrawal, carries the power of silent justice. As you withdraw from toxic dynamics, refusing to beg, refusing to break, you tap into the deepest, most undeniable force in the universe, balance. Because energy always returns to its source, not at your timing, but exactly when it must. You don't need to watch their downfall or wait anxiously for their reckoning. Your job is simply to rise above, to elevate yourself with grace and clarity. Your silent rise becomes their most profound reckoning, their wake-up call. They didn't strike with fists or scream at you publicly. They chose a colder, crueler method: neglect, silence, and indifference. And somehow that hurt more deeply, didn't it? Because the greatest pains often aren't the loudest ones. They're subtle and hidden. It's not always the dramatic betrayals or loud confrontations that break you down. It's the quiet, persistent neglect, the consistent denial of your existence and worth. When they acted like your presence was a burden, when your kindness felt like an inconvenience, the wound went deeper than skin. The deepest scars are often invisible, internalized, and emotional, inflicted by those who make you feel worthless. Without ever uttering a single harsh word, you stood there quietly dissolving while they stared straight through you, never acknowledging your struggles. Yet even in your pain, you remained loyal. You continued hoping, believing their silence was temporary stress, believing their distance was merely distraction. But as Barack Obama once gracefully said, change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. True change begins with clear, honest recognition of reality. You must understand clearly now, through the wisdom of Stoicism, that their neglect, their refusal to acknowledge your pain was not accidental. It was intentional, a weapon wielded with cruel precision. Marcus Aurelius wisely reminds us, if someone does wrong, it's not your job to judge, but to understand. When you grasp that not everyone shares your depth of heart or emotional courage, their silence loses its sting. It becomes merely a reflection of their limitations, not a testament to your worth. Imagine Serena Williams on the tennis court, focused, calm, unshakable, even amidst relentless pressure. Her strength doesn't come from shouting or boasting, it's a silent resilience, a disciplined approach to every setback. Similarly, your power emerges from silent understanding and thoughtful detachment. When you stop arguing with shadows and reaching into voids for validation, you reclaim your dignity and inner peace. The dangerous truth about quiet cruelty is that it makes you question your worth. It leaves you uncertain, emotionally unstable, and constantly second-guessing yourself. But here's the beautiful Stoic remedy observation: without judgment, detachment; without resentment, understanding; without bitterness. They didn't break you loudly, they chipped away slowly, skillfully, until you questioned your own inner light. But no longer. Now you see clearly. You rebuild, not with loud confrontations, not by exposing or retaliating, but by becoming someone untouchable by their negativity. You rebuild by embracing quiet strength, embodying dignity, and nurturing inner wisdom. Just as David Goggins turned profound emotional pain into extraordinary resilience and personal triumph, you too transform your silent suffering into inner strength. This isn't vengeance, it's victory. It's the ultimate balance restored by the universe itself. Their cruelty taught you boundaries. Their indifference showed you self-respect. Their silence refined your emotional intelligence. You thought you were alone, isolated in your grief and confusion, but you weren't. The universe was quietly observing, reflecting every action, every intention, every choice. And now, as you grow stronger, as you rise silently and powerfully, you embody the very essence of Stoic wisdom. You become the living proof that the universe doesn't forget. It doesn't punish it, patiently teaches, corrects, and restores balance. And this, my friend, is your true rebirth, the beginning of their reckoning, and the rise of your unstoppable, undeniable strength. The subtle art of emotional detachment. You stayed because loyalty is embedded deeply within your heart. You stayed because you chose to see potential long after others revealed their limitations. You held on to the belief that their silence was temporary, their neglect accidental. But slowly it became clear that their silence was intentional, a deliberate choice, a silent statement of disregard. And that realization hurt deeply, didn't it? because subtle cruelty, neglect, indifference, emotional absence is often far more devastating than any visible wound. But let's look at emotional detachment not as coldness but as wisdom. This is where Stoicism meets modern psychology, guiding you towards genuine emotional liberation. Epictetus once said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." In other words, real freedom comes when you accept reality without the constant need to fix, change, or control others' behaviors. Consider Keanu Reeves, a beacon of quiet humility and emotional strength whose resilience is born from deep personal loss, yet shines through in his compassionate interactions with others. His gentle yet firm detachment doesn't come from apathy. It stems from wisdom gained through navigating immense pain with grace. Like Keanu, when you detach emotionally, you don't become less caring. Instead, you stop allowing others' behaviors to dictate your inner peace. You see your emotional intelligence deepens profoundly when you understand that some people are incapable of reciprocating your depth. Recognizing this, you cease blaming yourself for their limitations. Their silence no longer wounds you, it informs you. Your pain becomes your teacher, quietly revealing the boundaries you must honor. Imagine Barack Obama's composed approach amidst relentless criticism and political turmoil. He understood clearly that responding to every provocation or slight wasn't strength, it was weakness, disguised as courage. He chose strategic silence and thoughtful engagement, never losing his emotional equilibrium. Similarly, your emotional detachment becomes your strategic clarity, allowing you to discern battles worth fighting and those worth gracefully letting go. David Goggins speaks of callousing the mind through disciplined practice. He teaches that emotional detachment isn't numbness, it's mastery. It's a disciplined choice to maintain inner strength amid external chaos. It's about staying true to yourself even when the world attempts to pull you into reactive turmoil. When others treated your emotions as inconvenient, when your kindness was exploited, you began to question yourself. Yet Stoicism teaches clearly their actions reflect their inner world, not your inherent worth. Marcus Aurelius emphasized, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. Emotional detachment provides the space needed to cultivate this internal strength. The dangerous illusion of attachment is that it tricks you into believing your worth depends on external validation. When you rely on someone else's actions or acknowledgments for your peace, you surrender control over your emotional well-being. Detachment restores this control, shifting your focus inward, empowering you to become emotionally self-sufficient. Think of Serena Williams again, calmly facing intense pressure on the court. Her power isn't solely physical, it's psychological. She understands deeply that reacting emotionally to external stressors only undermines her focus and strength. Instead, she channels her emotions into productive energy, remaining detached yet fully present. This Stoic approach teaches you something profound. Real love, real connection never demands you sacrifice emotional clarity or dignity. Authentic relationships nourish your emotional health rather than deplete it. Recognizing this distinction is key to emotional maturity and genuine inner peace. You are not responsible for others' emotional availability. Their inability to love fully or show compassion is their limitation, not yours. Once you truly internalize this truth, your heart no longer feels broken by their silence. Instead, it grows stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Your pain is real, but so is your growth. Your emotional detachment is not withdrawal, it's protection. It's the conscious decision to prioritize inner peace above fleeting external validation. It's the practice of holding space for yourself, respecting your emotions without being overwhelmed by them. As you embody emotional detachment, you begin to transform not bitterly, but beautifully. You no longer shrink your emotional truth to make others comfortable. Instead, you live authentically, gracefully detached, yet deeply connected to your inner strength. This is the subtle art of emotional detachment, your profound path to true emotional freedom. 3. Navigating emotional boundaries you've held on for so long because loyalty is deeply woven into the fabric of your being. You have repeatedly chosen to see the good in others even after they have shown you their limitations. You hoped that the emotional distance they created was temporary, a phase they would soon overcome. But gradually you realized the harsh truth: their emotional neglect was deliberate, their indifference carefully chosen. And this quiet cruelty, often unnoticed by others, wounded you more profoundly than overt betrayal ever could. Stoicism offers a profound perspective here, teaching that emotional boundaries aren't walls of isolation, but bridges to emotional freedom. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Your emotional boundaries are the practical applications of this wisdom, marking the limits of what you'll accept and what you'll let affect your peace. Think about how carefully Serena Williams manages her mental space before critical matches. She meticulously sets boundaries around her focus and energy, refusing to allow external chaos or opponents' intimidation to infiltrate her inner calm. Similarly, emotional boundaries aren't merely defensive, they're empowering tools that enable you to maintain emotional equilibrium amid life's storms. When others dismissed your emotions as excessive or inconvenient, you began to internalize their criticism. You questioned your own validity, your right to feel. But setting emotional boundaries means acknowledging that your feelings are not just valid, they are sacred. No one else holds the right to define your emotional experience or limit its expression. Epictetus beautifully captured this idea. We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. This profound truth reinforces the importance of emotional boundaries as your choice, your deliberate response to others' actions and energies. It's about clearly defining what emotional behaviors you'll accept from others and what you will firmly reject. Consider the quiet dignity and inner clarity of Keanu Reeves, whose personal tragedies have taught him deep lessons about emotional boundaries. Despite public curiosity, he never allows external narratives or invasive questions to breach his emotional boundaries. Instead, he remains poised, deeply compassionate, yet firmly protective of his inner peace. Like Keanu, your emotional boundaries are not signs of emotional unavailability. They're affirmations of emotional maturity. Barack Obama once emphasized the power of calmly maintaining emotional integrity in the face of relentless criticism and misunderstanding. He mastered the art of knowing precisely when and how to engage emotionally. Like Obama, your boundaries are not rigid barriers, but clear guidelines protecting your emotional integrity and preserving your mental clarity. David Goggins embodies this principle through relentless self-awareness and disciplined emotional boundaries. He emphasizes understanding your emotional triggers and firmly establishing boundaries to maintain resilience and focus. Your boundaries, similarly, aren't about shutting down, but about consciously choosing where to direct your emotional energy. The harsh reality is that not everyone respects emotional boundaries. Often those who hurt you the most are precisely those who disregard or challenge your emotional limits. Yet their inability to respect your boundaries doesn't lessen their necessity. Rather, it emphasizes their importance. Remember, establishing emotional boundaries is not an act of rejection. It's an act of profound self-respect. It's about clearly communicating your emotional needs, your non-negotiables, and the standards by which you deserve to be treated. It's recognizing that true love and authentic relationships will always respect these boundaries rather than attempt to breach them. Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, "Reject your sense of injury and the injury itself disappears." Your emotional boundaries help you enact this wisdom. By clearly defining what constitutes injury to your emotional health, you disempower external negativity from dictating your inner state. You've endured enough quiet cruelty, silent neglect, and subtle emotional manipulation. Your boundaries are your declaration that this behavior stops here and now. They mark the space in which your emotional well-being remains intact, protected from the casual cruelty of others. As you clearly define and uphold your emotional boundaries, you reclaim your emotional autonomy. You no longer allow others' inability or unwillingness to respect your feelings to shape your inner experience. You emerge stronger, wiser, and profoundly freer. Navigating emotional boundaries is not simply about surviving, it's about thriving. It's your powerful declaration of self-worth, dignity, and emotional intelligence. Embrace this journey of boundary setting not as isolation, but as your path toward deeper, more meaningful connections with others, and most importantly, with yourself. Number 4. The strength of quiet resilience. Throughout your journey, you've experienced wounds that weren't loud or dramatic, but quiet, subtle, and deeply penetrating. These quiet wounds came from neglect, indifference, and carefully calculated silence. Initially, you responded with patience, believing in change, hoping your unwavering kindness would inspire reciprocation. Yet the repeated emotional neglect didn't just hurt, it reshaped you. Stoicism highlights a profound truth. True strength doesn't always announce itself loudly. Often it resides in quiet resilience. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Quiet resilience is precisely this, responding to hurt, not with vengeance or bitterness, but with inner calm and dignified perseverance. Consider the quiet, unwavering strength of Sully, who landed a passenger jet safely on the Hudson River amidst intense pressure and chaos. His heroism wasn't marked by shouting or dramatic displays, but by the composed precision of quiet resilience. Just as Sully quietly and effectively took control of a potentially catastrophic situation, your resilience allows you to calmly navigate emotional turmoil and emerge stronger. When others refuse to acknowledge your emotional pain, they communicated a brutal message that your feelings weren't important enough to consider. Yet through Stoicism, you discover that their refusal isn't a reflection of your value, but of their emotional limitations. Your quiet resilience grows from this realization, becoming a testament to your emotional depth and integrity. Epictetus wisely observed, "Circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself." Similarly, the neglect and emotional distance you faced did not define your worth. Instead, they revealed your profound inner strength. Quiet resilience isn't passive, it's active self-awareness, choosing emotional clarity and calm over reactive chaos. Look at Keanu Reeves, whose resilience in the face of personal tragedy and public scrutiny never faltered into bitterness or despair. He chose quiet resilience, transforming his grief and struggles into profound empathy and compassion towards others. His strength doesn't come from loud proclamations of toughness, but from the gentle steadfastness with which he moves through life. Similarly, your resilience is deeply rooted in quiet, enduring strength, a gentle power that outlasts temporary cruelty. Former President Barack Obama also embodies quiet resilience, facing immense challenges and relentless criticism. He maintained a calm dignity, choosing strategic silence and measured responses. His approach teaches us that resilience isn't about overpowering opposition, but gracefully managing adversity without losing one's inner balance. Your resilience, too, emerges powerfully when you maintain emotional equilibrium despite others' negativity. David Goggins offers another powerful lesson. Through immense hardship, he cultivated a disciplined mindset, choosing to confront pain quietly and steadily. His quiet resilience became his greatest strength, enabling him to achieve extraordinary physical and emotional feats. Your resilience similarly transforms adversity into opportunity, quietly building your emotional fortitude. Quiet resilience isn't simply enduring pain, it's actively using pain as fuel for profound growth and self-understanding. It's learning to sit calmly with discomfort, recognizing that true strength emerges not from avoiding pain, but from embracing and transforming it. Serena Williams showcases this beautifully on the tennis court. Amidst intense pressure, distractions, and challenges, she harnesses quiet resilience to maintain her composure and focus. She turns emotional pressure into precision and power, illustrating that resilience isn't mere survival, it's thriving under adversity. Your quiet resilience allows you to reclaim control of your emotional narrative. Instead of allowing others' neglect or indifference to dictate your self-perception, you choose how you respond internally. You learn to cultivate calm strength, making deliberate choices that align with your dignity and emotional health. As Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Quiet resilience is precisely this power, recognizing your ability to choose inner peace and strength despite external circumstances. Now your quiet resilience becomes your most potent weapon, not for revenge, but for profound transformation. It empowers you to rise calmly above emotional cruelty, indifference, and neglect. It allows you to maintain dignity in the face of disrespect and remain true to your emotional truth despite external pressures. Embrace your quiet resilience as your greatest strength. It's not about enduring silently. It's about rising gracefully, firmly rooted in emotional clarity and profound self-awareness. Through quiet resilience, you transform pain into power, suffering into strength, and adversity into genuine emotional liberation. Reclaiming your emotional autonomy. The journey you've embarked on has led you through quiet but profound emotional wounds, those subtle but impactful hurts delivered through indifference and neglect. Initially, you sought to heal these wounds through compassion and understanding, hopeful that your unwavering kindness would eventually inspire change. Yet repeated emotional abandonment slowly chipped away at your self-perception, making you question your worth and emotional validity. Stoicism gently guides you back to clarity by reminding you that genuine emotional freedom lies in reclaiming your autonomy. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Your emotional autonomy is rooted in this wisdom, acknowledging your capacity to choose your emotional responses rather than allowing external actions to dictate your inner peace. Reflect for a moment on Keanu Reeves, whose quiet strength and emotional autonomy inspire many. Despite personal tragedies and public scrutiny, he never surrendered his emotional autonomy. Instead, he consistently demonstrates emotional independence, choosing empathy, kindness, and clarity over bitterness or resentment. Your emotional autonomy mirrors this strength, a quiet yet potent reminder that you are the author of your emotional narrative. When others dismissed your feelings or neglected your emotional needs, it was easy to internalize their disregard as a reflection of your worth. But Stoicism teaches clearly others' neglect is not your shame. It is their limitation. Understanding this distinction restores your emotional autonomy, empowering you to disengage from seeking validation from those unwilling or incapable of providing it. Consider Barack Obama's composed demeanor amidst persistent criticism. He understood that emotional autonomy means refusing to allow external negativity to distort your inner clarity. His emotional autonomy wasn't merely endurance, it was active, thoughtful self-awareness and deliberate emotional management. Like Obama, you reclaim your emotional autonomy by consciously deciding which emotional responses align with your dignity and self-worth. David Goggins exemplifies the transformative power of emotional autonomy through disciplined self-awareness. By actively choosing his emotional responses instead of reacting impulsively, Goggins converted profound pain and adversity into personal strength. Similarly, reclaiming your emotional autonomy means consciously deciding to respond intentionally rather than reacting impulsively to external emotional triggers. Epictetus once stated, "Men are disturbed not by things but by the view which they take of them." This wisdom emphasizes that reclaiming your emotional autonomy means changing how you perceive others' actions and responses. It's about actively choosing perspectives that strengthen rather than weaken you emotionally. Serena Williams demonstrates this clearly in her athletic prowess. She actively chooses her emotional responses on the tennis court, refusing to let external stressors dictate her mental state. Instead, she harnesses emotional autonomy to maintain focus, precision, and composure under pressure. Your emotional autonomy is a reclamation of your emotional integrity. It marks a powerful shift from being emotionally dependent on external validation to relying on internal clarity and self-awareness. Your emotions become authentically yours, no longer influenced or manipulated by external neglect or cruelty. Marcus Aurelius further emphasized, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Reclaiming emotional autonomy involves cultivating mindful, intentional thoughts that uphold your emotional well-being. It means consciously choosing thoughts that reinforce your worth, dignity, and emotional clarity. Recognize that emotional autonomy doesn't isolate you. It empowers you to connect authentically with others from a place of genuine self-awareness and strength. It allows you to establish healthier, more meaningful relationships because your emotional connections are built on mutual respect rather than emotional dependence. The wounds inflicted through emotional neglect taught you a crucial lesson. Your emotional well-being must never depend on another's emotional availability. Instead, it must be rooted firmly within your emotional autonomy, your internal clarity, resilience, and strength. As you reclaim emotional autonomy, you rewrite your emotional narrative. You shift from victimhood to empowerment, recognizing your capacity to determine your emotional responses and boundaries. Your emotional autonomy isn't merely personal growth, it's profound emotional liberation. Now embrace this autonomy fully. Understand that your emotional health, your inner peace, and your dignity are entirely within your control. By reclaiming emotional autonomy, you not only heal but also elevate your emotional maturity and resilience, crafting a life of authentic emotional strength and profound self-respect. 6. Transforming pain into power. The emotional journey you've undertaken has led you through profound and silent hurts, moments of subtle cruelty, persistent neglect, and quiet indifference. These wounds weren't loud or obvious. They were slow and insidious, deeply affecting your emotional core. Initially, you responded by hoping, forgiving, and waiting for understanding and empathy that never arrived. Yet it became clear that the repeated emotional neglect was neither accidental nor temporary, it was intentional. Stoicism provides a profound perspective, here guiding you to transform your emotional pain into authentic personal power. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This wisdom underscores that pain isn't just an obstacle, it can be a catalyst for profound personal growth and resilience. Consider David Goggins, whose extraordinary resilience arose from extreme emotional and physical hardships. Rather than allowing pain to define him negatively, he chose to confront and transform it into remarkable strength and endurance, right? Goggins demonstrates clearly that pain, when approached deliberately and courageously, becomes a powerful source of personal transformation. Keanu Reeves exemplifies this transformative power differently, yet equally effectively. Through personal tragedies and immense public scrutiny, Reeves harnessed his pain, channeling it into deep empathy and genuine compassion towards others. His quiet, steady transformation of pain into empathy and kindness is a testament to the profound power of emotional resilience. When you faced emotional abandonment or neglect, it was natural to internalize the hurt and question your value. Yet Stoicism teaches us that your response to pain, rather than the pain itself, determines its power over you. Your emotional experiences are valid, but how you channel and transform these experiences defines your growth and emotional strength. Barack Obama offers another compelling example. He faced continuous criticism and intense pressure during his presidency, yet never allowed external negativity to erode his inner resolve. Instead, he consistently transformed external adversity into internal clarity and deliberate action, demonstrating the powerful capacity to turn emotional challenges into personal growth. Epictetus emphasized, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Your emotional pain, although real and valid, becomes transformative when you choose conscious, deliberate responses rather than impulsive reactions. By actively choosing how you respond to emotional wounds, you harness their potential to foster resilience and strength. Serena Williams demonstrates this transformative process vividly on the tennis court. Facing immense physical and emotional pressure, she consistently transforms stress and adversity into precision, power, and focused determination. Her example reinforces that emotional pain, when managed consciously and intentionally, can profoundly enhance personal growth and performance. Transforming pain into power requires embracing your emotional experiences fully, without denial or avoidance. It involves recognizing your emotional pain as a valuable teacher, offering critical insights into your boundaries, self-worth, and emotional resilience. Rather than viewing pain as destructive, you begin to see it as a powerful, transformative force. Marcus Aurelius further emphasizes, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. This insight reminds you that your perception of pain profoundly shapes its impact on your life. By consciously choosing empowering perspectives, you redefine your relationship with emotional pain, using it constructively rather than destructively. Your emotional wounds have revealed your remarkable capacity for endurance, empathy, and emotional depth. They have taught you invaluable lessons about emotional autonomy, boundaries, and resilience. Pain, when transformed consciously, empowers you to reclaim control of your emotional narrative, shifting from victimhood to profound personal empowerment. As you embrace the transformative power of your emotional pain, you rewrite your personal narrative. Your pain no longer defines you negatively, it empowers you positively, enhancing your emotional maturity, self-awareness, and resilience. Pain becomes your ally, guiding you towards profound emotional liberation and authentic personal growth. Now fully embrace this transformative journey. Recognize that every emotional wound has prepared you for deeper resilience, clarity, and strength. By consciously transforming your pain into power, you not only heal, you elevate your emotional intelligence and fortitude, crafting a life deeply rooted in strength, authenticity, and profound emotional liberation. 7. Cultivating inner peace. Throughout your emotional journey, you've experienced quiet wounds, subtle yet profound hurts inflicted through neglect, indifference, and emotional abandonment. Initially, you sought understanding and compassion, hoping your kindness and patience would inspire reciprocation. Yet the recurring emotional neglect wasn't accidental. It was deliberate, revealing a painful truth about the intentions of others. Stoicism offers a powerful path forward by guiding you toward cultivating inner peace, independent of external circumstances. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Peace of mind comes from not wanting to change others." This wisdom underscores the essence of inner peace. It doesn't rely on external validation or behaviors. It arises from accepting reality and controlling your internal reactions. Consider Keanu Reeves, whose calm demeanor and emotional steadiness amid personal hardships inspire many. His inner peace isn't passive, it's a profound, deliberate choice to remain composed, compassionate, and authentic despite external turmoil. Your inner peace similarly emerges from consciously choosing calmness and emotional clarity, regardless of external chaos. When others neglected your emotional needs or invalidated your feelings, it naturally disrupted your sense of inner peace. Yet through Stoicism, you learn that your peace isn't contingent upon others' actions or acknowledgments. Your emotional tranquility is entirely within your control, a personal sanctuary you cultivate intentionally. Epictetus wisely stated, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." This truth emphasizes that cultivating inner peace involves clearly distinguishing between what you can control, your emotions, reactions, and perceptions, and what lies beyond your control, others' behaviors and choices. Barack Obama exemplifies this clarity vividly, maintaining emotional equilibrium despite relentless external criticism and challenges. His inner peace wasn't merely composure, It was an active, thoughtful choice to remain emotionally balanced and clear-headed amidst chaos. Like Obama, cultivating your inner peace involves deliberate emotional management, choosing tranquility over turmoil. David Goggins further illustrates this principle through his disciplined, resilient approach to life's challenges. Goggins teaches that inner peace arises from confronting adversity with disciplined self-awareness, rather than avoiding or denying emotional pain. Your inner peace is similarly strengthened when you face emotional challenges, directly harnessing them as opportunities for profound personal growth. Serena Williams demonstrates inner peace through focused composure on the tennis court, effectively managing intense pressure by maintaining emotional clarity and concentration. Her example underscores that inner peace isn't merely the absence of stress, it's actively managing stress and emotional turmoil with clear-minded composure. Your emotional experiences, although deeply painful, serve as powerful lessons guiding you toward cultivating profound inner peace. Instead of allowing emotional wounds to disrupt your tranquility, you use them as catalysts to develop emotional resilience and clarity. Inner peace thus becomes your sanctuary, a state of emotional calmness and clarity, irrespective of external circumstances. Marcus Aurelius emphasized, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself and your way of thinking." Cultivating inner peace involves deliberately nurturing empowering positive thought patterns that uphold your emotional well-being. It means consciously choosing thoughts that reinforce emotional clarity, strength, and tranquility. Cultivating inner peace doesn't isolate you. It empowers you to engage authentically with others, free from emotional dependency or external validation. It enhances your emotional maturity, enabling healthier, more meaningful connections rooted in mutual respect and genuine emotional awareness. As you cultivate inner peace, you reclaim your emotional autonomy and tranquility. You learn to remain emotionally steady amidst external chaos, no longer allowing others' actions to disrupt your inner calmness. Your peace becomes your strength, a profound source of emotional resilience and clarity. Now fully embrace this journey toward inner peace. Recognize that your emotional tranquility, clarity, and strength reside entirely within your control. By consciously cultivating inner peace, you not only heal emotionally, you elevate your emotional intelligence and fortitude, crafting a life deeply rooted in tranquility, strength, and authentic emotional liberation. 8. Embracing authentic self-love. Throughout your emotional journey, you've encountered silent yet profound wounds inflicted through consistent neglect, subtle indifference, and emotional abandonment. Initially, your natural response was compassion and patience, hoping to inspire change through unwavering kindness. Yet repeated emotional neglect gradually unveiled a deeper truth. The cruelty you faced was intentional, prompting a profound reevaluation of your emotional landscape. Stoicism invites you to reclaim your emotional health through authentic self-love. Marcus Aurelius wisely observed, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Authentic self-love involves cultivating positive, nurturing thoughts that reinforce your emotional value, strength, and dignity, transforming your inner narrative profoundly. Reflect on the quiet, genuine humility of Keanu Reeves, whose compassionate and authentic interactions with others inspire many. Reeves consistently demonstrates authentic self-love by honoring his emotional boundaries, engaging genuinely, and showing compassion both to himself and to others. Like Reeves, your authentic self-love emerges through genuine emotional respect and nurturing self-awareness. When others dismissed your emotions or failed to acknowledge your worth, it naturally impacted your self-perception. However, Stoicism teaches that authentic self-love doesn't rely on external validation. It is rooted deeply within your own emotional clarity and internal affirmation. You learn to validate your emotions, recognizing their intrinsic worth independent of others' actions or reactions. Epictetus profoundly captures this idea, stating, "First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Authentic self-love involves clearly defining and nurturing your emotional identity and integrity. It empowers you to actively pursue emotional well-being and dignity through intentional thoughts and actions. Consider Barack Obama's calm and reflective demeanor amid constant external pressures. His authentic self-love wasn't passive, it was active, emotional management, consistently aligning his actions and choices with his inner values and emotional well-being. Similarly, your authentic self-love involves active emotional alignment, prioritizing self-respect, dignity, and emotional clarity in your daily choices. David Goggins exemplifies authentic self-love through disciplined self-awareness and emotional resilience. Goggins' powerful journey highlights the importance of actively confronting emotional pain and adversity to cultivate authentic self-love. Your journey similarly involves consciously facing and addressing emotional wounds, transforming them into profound self-awareness and strength. Serena Williams demonstrates authentic self-love vividly through her unwavering self-belief and emotional composure, even in high-pressure situations. Her example reinforces that authentic self-love isn't merely self-care, it's active emotional empowerment, consistently reinforcing your emotional worth and dignity amidst external stressors. Authentic self-love involves consciously affirming your emotional worth and dignity independent of external validation. It means actively nurturing your emotional well-being through positive, empowering thoughts and deliberate self-care practices. Authentic self-love transforms your emotional experiences, reframing them as valuable lessons that enhance your emotional resilience and maturity. Marcus Aurelius further emphasizes, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Authentic self-love involves embodying emotional integrity and dignity, actively aligning your actions with your inner emotional truths consistently. It empowers you to cultivate genuine emotional authenticity, integrity, and clarity in every aspect of your life. Embracing authentic self-love doesn't isolate you. It empowers you to form healthier, more meaningful connections grounded in mutual respect and genuine emotional intimacy. It enhances your emotional intelligence, enabling you to engage authentically with others from a place of emotional strength and clarity. As you fully embrace authentic self-love, you reclaim emotional autonomy and dignity profoundly. You no longer allow external neglect or indifference to dictate your emotional narrative. Instead, you actively nurture emotional well-being, dignity, and integrity through authentic self-awareness and genuine self-care. Now wholeheartedly embrace your journey toward authentic self-love. Recognize that your emotional worth, clarity, and strength reside entirely within your conscious nurturing and affirmation. By cultivating authentic self-love deliberately, you not only heal emotionally, you elevate your emotional intelligence profoundly, creating a life deeply rooted in genuine self-respect, emotional empowerment, and profound emotional liberation. 9. Forging a new emotional identity. Your emotional journey has guided you through subtle yet significant wounds inflicted through repeated neglect, silent indifference, and emotional abandonment. Initially, your response was compassion, patience, and hope, believing your unwavering kindness would eventually inspire reciprocal care. Yet over time, it became evident that the emotional neglect you faced wasn't accidental. It was intentional, prompting profound introspection and transformation. Stoicism now invites you to consciously forge a new emotional identity, rooted deeply in wisdom and clarity. Marcus Aurelius poignantly observed, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself in your way of thinking." Forging a new emotional identity means intentionally cultivating empowering thoughts, aligning your self-perception with dignity, strength, and emotional resilience. Consider the transformative journey of David Goggins, whose disciplined self-awareness allowed him to forge a powerful new emotional identity. Goggins transformed profound adversity into remarkable emotional strength, teaching that consciously reshaping your emotional identity enables profound personal growth and emotional liberation. Reflect on Keanu Reeves, whose authentic interactions and genuine humility continuously inspire others. Reeves's emotional identity isn't dictated by external validation, but by deliberate emotional clarity and genuine compassion. Your new emotional identity similarly involves consciously embodying emotional authenticity, compassion, and self-respect. When others dismissed your emotional experiences or neglected your emotional needs, it naturally impacted your self-perception. However, Stoicism teaches clearly that others' behaviors don't define your emotional identity. Instead, your emotional identity emerges from consciously chosen values, emotional integrity, and deliberate self-awareness. Epictetus clearly emphasized, "First learn the meaning of what you say and then speak." Similarly, forging your new emotional identity involves deep self-reflection and clear emotional understanding. It means consciously defining your emotional values, boundaries, and integrity, aligning your actions consistently with your authentic emotional truths. Consider Barack Obama's reflective and composed demeanor, a clear example of emotional identity forged through deliberate self-awareness and emotional clarity. Obama's consistent alignment of actions with deeply held values highlights that your emotional identity is profoundly shaped by intentional emotional management and clear self-awareness. Serena Williams vividly illustrates emotional identity through her unwavering confidence and focused emotional composure under intense pressure. Her emotional strength is a clear demonstration of how consciously forged emotional identity profoundly impacts resilience and performance. Your emotional identity similarly shapes your emotional resilience, strength, and clarity. Forging a new emotional identity involves consciously redefining your relationship with emotional experiences, transforming emotional wounds into powerful lessons. Your emotional identity becomes one of resilience, strength, and profound emotional clarity, empowering you to navigate life's emotional complexities with grace and dignity. Marcus Aurelius further advises, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Forging your new emotional identity means consciously controlling your internal reactions and perceptions rather than allowing external circumstances to define your emotional narrative. It involves actively choosing emotional responses that reinforce your dignity and emotional well-being. Your emotional identity doesn't isolate you. It empowers authentic, meaningful connections with others, grounded in mutual respect, emotional maturity, and genuine emotional intimacy. It enhances emotional intelligence, enabling genuine empathetic interactions rooted in authentic self-awareness. As you consciously forge your new emotional identity, you reclaim emotional autonomy and profound self-respect. You no longer allow external neglect or indifference to shape your emotional narrative. Instead, you actively define your emotional identity through deliberate emotional clarity, dignity, and integrity. Now wholeheartedly embrace your journey toward forging a new emotional identity. Recognize clearly that your emotional strength, dignity, and clarity reside entirely within your conscious choices and deliberate emotional alignment. By intentionally cultivating your new emotional identity, you not only heal, you profoundly elevate your emotional intelligence, resilience, and clarity, crafting a life rooted deeply in authentic emotional liberation, strength, and self-respect. 10. The triumph of emotional liberation. Your emotional journey, filled with quiet yet deeply impactful wounds inflicted through neglect, indifference, and abandonment, has profoundly reshaped your inner landscape. Initially, you responded with kindness, compassion, and patience, believing these would eventually inspire reciprocal empathy. Over time, however, it became clear that the emotional neglect you faced was intentional, prompting profound introspection, transformation, and ultimately emotional liberation. Stoicism now guides you towards the ultimate triumph, emotional liberation. Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Emotional liberation involves recognizing this power, fully freeing yourself from dependency on external validation or circumstances, and firmly reclaiming your emotional autonomy. Reflect on the disciplined resilience of David Goggins, who transformed significant adversity into profound emotional freedom and empowerment. Goggins' powerful journey highlights how conscious emotional discipline can lead to profound liberation and self-empowerment, regardless of external circumstances. Consider Keanu Reeves, whose genuine humility and compassionate presence have continuously inspired many. Reeves embodies emotional liberation by consciously choosing emotional clarity and authenticity over external validation, demonstrating genuine emotional freedom through his authentic interactions. When others dismissed your emotional experiences or neglected your emotional needs, it deeply affected your emotional identity. However, through Stoicism, you learn that emotional liberation doesn't depend on external validation. It arises from clear, deliberate self-awareness and emotional clarity. Your emotional freedom emerges from consciously defined emotional boundaries, dignity, and internal validation. Epictetus emphasized, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." This profound wisdom underscores that emotional liberation involves clearly distinguishing between what you can control, your emotions, responses, and perceptions, and what lies beyond your control, others' behaviors and choices. Former President Barack Obama's composed emotional clarity amid persistent criticism vividly exemplifies emotional liberation. Obama consistently maintained emotional autonomy by consciously choosing clarity and dignity over reactive emotions, illustrating the powerful impact of deliberate emotional management. Serena Williams powerfully demonstrates emotional liberation through her unwavering emotional composure and inner clarity, even under intense pressure. Her ability to maintain emotional autonomy and strength in challenging situations clearly illustrates that emotional liberation profoundly impacts performance, resilience, and clarity. Emotional liberation involves consciously redefining your relationship with emotional wounds, transforming them into powerful lessons that enhance emotional resilience and clarity. Your emotional experiences become catalysts for profound personal growth, empowering you to navigate life's emotional complexities with dignity and grace. Marcus Aurelius further advises, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself in your way of thinking." Emotional liberation involves deliberately cultivating empowering thoughts, actively reinforcing emotional clarity, strength, and autonomy. It means consciously choosing emotional responses that uphold your dignity and emotional well-being consistently. Your emotional liberation doesn't isolate you. It profoundly enhances authentic, emotional connections, enabling deeper, more meaningful relationships grounded in mutual respect, empathy, and genuine emotional awareness. Emotional liberation empowers you to engage authentically with others from a place of emotional strength and profound self-awareness. As you fully embrace emotional liberation, you reclaim emotional autonomy, dignity, and profound inner peace. You no longer allow external neglect, indifference, or abandonment to dictate your emotional well-being. Instead, you actively nurture emotional clarity, resilience, and profound self-respect through deliberate self-awareness and conscious emotional alignment. Now wholeheartedly embrace the triumph of emotional liberation. Recognize clearly that your emotional strength, autonomy, and clarity are entirely within your conscious choices and deliberate emotional empowerment. By fully embracing emotional liberation, you heal profoundly, elevate your emotional intelligence and resilience, and craft a life deeply rooted in authentic emotional freedom, strength, and dignity. Your emotional liberation isn't merely personal triumph, it's a profound transformative journey toward genuine self-empowerment and authentic emotional freedom. Let's slow down now, breathing in softly, gently relaxing into the calm space you've created within yourself. The journey we shared tonight wasn't easy. Confronting these subtle wounds rarely is. Yet here you are, quietly stronger, softly braver, having faced truths others often ignore. Let your breathing deepen, filling your lungs fully and releasing the tension gently, effortlessly. The quiet cruelty you experienced, those hidden emotional bruises, remember they're no longer burdens you must carry alone. Instead, see them as gentle reminders, quiet guides nudging you towards emotional freedom and authentic self-love. Your pain was not meaningless. It was profoundly purposeful, delicately teaching you strength, dignity, and clarity. Now as your thoughts gently soften, let your mind drift toward peaceful imagery, perhaps a serene meadow bathed in twilight, the air rich with the fragrance of wildflowers gently swaying in a quiet breeze. Feel your heart rate slow, your pulse softly steadying your entire being, easing into this peaceful sanctuary. Know that the universe sees you clearly now, silently acknowledging every quiet battle you fought, every silent tear you've shed. Karma, gentle and precise, restores balance not as punishment, but as gentle correction, quietly reaffirming your worth and dignity. You've done your part, carried your burdens, and now it's time to rest, to breathe, to heal fully and deeply. Allow your mind to drift further into tranquility, each breath softly affirming your emotional liberation. Let your heartbeat synchronize gently with this newfound peace, affirming softly yet profoundly, I am enough. I am healing. I am free. Tonight, as you rest, remember you are not alone in your journey. You are surrounded by gentle strength, quiet wisdom, and profound peace. Let yourself softly fade into sleep, knowing deeply that tomorrow offers fresh clarity, renewed strength, and continued growth. And as you gently drift off, hear these words whispered softly within your soul. You are seen. You are valued. You are loved. Sweet dreams.